Hello, welcome back to Girls Guts Glory. Thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for sponsoring this season. Thank you, Johannes Plenio, for some of our cool background images. Rachel's awesome animated background images are from
James' RPG art on Patreon.
Yeah, that looks magical there. I want to be where she is virtually. Anyway, I am Kim Doherty, and I play Daisy Gamwich, your changeling artificer.
I'm Erica Fermina, and I play Leaf, your goblin druid.
Oh, sorry. I'm Alice Gretchen. I play Valara Nailo, your centaur bard.
I'm Ali Gonino. I play Alyssum Todrayas, and I am an Eladrin sorceress.
And I'm Kelly Lynn D'Angelo. I play Jacques de Courgiols, your Furbo cleric.
And I'm Rachel Seeley, and I'm your human DM. So, top of the episode, who wants to see if they can get their initiative advantage? Or their recap advantage?
Oh, I'll let Allie do it.
Yeah, Allie, give me a recap.
Okay, so in the last episode, Alyssum returned to Oasis. She was awakened by a goblin, I believe it was, and halfling. And apparently I've been, for the last couple weeks, holding space in Oasis, keeping the magic alive, while also simultaneously kind of being under the spell of this halfling. And in the last episode, our adventurers ventured to Oasis. We came together, found each other once more, reunited, and now we are on our way to find another one of those big ice beams. And we have ventured into the jungle, and that's where we are now.
Yeah. All right. Write down that you have advantage on one roll for this episode. And where we last left off, you had gone down that slope, slippy sliding around, and Leaf had decided to tree stride to a random tree. Leaf, you hop to the other side of this tree that you've just bamped through, and you see jungle all around you. You're on a flat surface, so you know that you are at least away from the slope. You're not sure how far. You hear in the distance a series of crashes as, unbeknownst to you, Valara and Demmer go sliding down a slope, having catapulted themselves, doing very well for the first half of their toboggan run with their whips pulling them along, but they gained such speed that they began to slip and they broke a branch. But you hear these crashes in the distance, not too far away. Make a survival check for me.
$19.
Yeah. You start to follow the sounds. You head through the jungle, dipping between some trees and climbing over some big roots. And eventually it opens up in front of you. The trees become a little bit more sparse and you see a clearing. And in the clearing, you see the ruins of what was once probably a very magnificent temple. And on the very far side, as small points, you see your friends.
Oh, I'll jump up and I'll be like, oh, yay! I went too far. I took the wrong tree.
Are you okay? You all right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
So Little Leaf runs up and joins the party. The temple that is in front of you in the clearing is all but destroyed. And Alyssum, it's very familiar to you. You remember exactly being at this temple. This is where you found your father's ring. The temple is low to the ground. It looks like there are mainly some ground floor rooms that are still intact. The rest is in ruins. The walls are a very, very light tan. They're made with huge interlocking blocks, and they look incredibly weather-worn. There are pieces that are smooth, and then there are pieces that look like they've been shot through with bullets. Walking up towards it, you see a lot of the squares, the blocks that create this temple, have this beautiful swirling pattern that also interlocks with itself, and it continues all in a band along the side of the temple. There are several openings at several entrances. Half of them are blocked off by fallen rubble, and there are some toppled pillars here and there. It was grand at one point, and now it is still standing, but just barely.
I often used to come here when I was little to pray to my goddess. It's a little worse for wear, but I don't know. I feel like maybe I should see if anyone else is in here. So I'm going to walk up to the temple, peer in, and can I make a perception check?
Sure. You head up the tiny little stone steps in front of it, and you look in through the opening. It's two large blocks of stone. I'm assuming from that face, it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see darkness inside, and you have good dark vision, but for some reason, maybe because you've been in the sun, it's hard to see inside. You're kind of seeing lights in your vision, just from, staring at the sun too long or something like that. So you don't see anybody inside. You'll have to go in further.
Okay, I'm gonna step in.
Okay. You step inside. It's nice and cool in here in the shade. The roof is low here, but you can see further up down this hallway, it starts to go up. And this is exactly where you entered before you died. There are two pathways to the left and the right. They're full of columns that each have different decorations on them. And it looks like the one on the right has a downed pillar in it, so it's inaccessible unless you want to crawl. It was easier to get to. All of this was easier to traverse when you were a kid, because you're small, you can take damage, you're hardy, you can fit in small spaces, but now it's a little bit more difficult being an adult. But the one to the left, sorry?
I was just going to say, I'm going to turn around to my party and tell them that this is where I believe when I died, I remember visiting here shortly before. Not to say that to scare you, but just watch your step.
That means the spire is probably very nearby.
Oh, perhaps, yes.
So Alyssa, from where you are, there's a hallway forward, and that's where the ceiling looks like it starts to dip up and becomes a little bit taller. And then there's a hallway to your left. And you remember you had gone down that way first, back before, when you were alive. And down there is where you found that room, and you had to solve that little puzzle, and the pedestal opened, and your father's ring was there. But that's also a dead end.
Okay. I'm going to ask everyone, what exactly are we to do with the ice spire?
Jacques has this fantastic spear that he knows how to use very well.
Now
And-
look, it looks like a normal spear, and if you look at the edge, if you look real close, there's little sparks, and it's impressive when it's inside of an icicle. But otherwise, it just looks like a normal spear. So we do our best.
Yes, Jacques, he clears the souls and sends them back where they need to go, because he does a ceremony for the souls that are trapped in the spire. And then he just pierces the spire, penetrates it with his spear, and it creates just a magical explosion.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good, Daisy.
Leaf, did you hear that?
Yeah, you're talking about the spear and how it explodes the ice spires.
Yes, how his large spear penetrates the ice spire and creates a magical explosion.
The entendre.
I was trying to help for a joke.
It's
The
a sex
tip.
thing.
Of the spear. Just
No, it's the whole spear goes in. We'll talk about this in a
But
minute.
very good, Leaf.
I
Listen,
tried.
we have been having a dirty joke. Not a contest, there is no contest, but anytime you see an opportunity to have a dirty joke, have at it.
Daisy's been studying the dirty jokes, and it's been quite helpful. Rufus was, of course, the king of the dirty jokes. But now that I've understood the jokes, I'm trying to pass along my knowledge to Leaf.
Yeah, I still didn't quite understand them because it just sounded like they were talking about the spear. But there's something there, and I'll figure it out one day.
It's like a layered, like I would say, onion, but I think croissant, and that's where my brain goes. So it's like when you have the flaky layers of a croissant, and you have to pull them apart and to get to the center. And it melts in your mouth.
You're making me hungry, Jacques.
Well, I could bring you back to 10 Town sometime, and you could have some of the local cuisine, with this beautiful sunset. Anyway, we should probably get to this ice spire. It's time, isn't it?
Now how does one look for an ice spire? Have you found any tricks along the way in your previous travels?
You'll know.
Of it?
So maybe we should just follow the cool, cold feelings. If it's nearby, then perhaps it gives off a very chilly.
Sometimes it does.
Is there any signs of it, DM? Any signs we might?
Roll a perception check.
We all, or just?
Yeah.
If you're looking for it, yeah.
17 for Daisy.
Quite bad today.
6 for Valora.
21.
8.
11.
Demer's not going to roll because he doesn't know what to look for. Yeah, for all of you, I mean, you're standing in a 3-point foyer. You can either go to the right, the left, or down center. So you see a bunch of... Sorry?
Can we disperse?
If you'd like, yeah.
What do you say? Some people go to the right, some people go to the left.
You see walls going down. You see a little bit of daylight up ahead, maybe a hole in the roof or a doorway that leads out. You're not sure. To the left, Alyssum, is the dead end. And to the right, it looks like there's a tiny space to crawl through. It's not very big.
Do I know if the tiny space leads to anything? Is it inside the temple or outside?
So through the crawl space, because you've explored this place a lot as a kid, there's one main hallway that the left and the right both go into this main hallway that goes all along the perimeter of the temple, and it splits off into several smaller hallways that go to different rooms. There was several upper floors, and there is a lower floor somewhere. You're not sure how to get to it. You don't remember, but you do know there is a central chamber.
Alyssum, do you have any sense of which one? You mentioned that you felt a little bit of trauma in your body. Does your body feel more scared to enter which particular way?
No, it's more of a general, like, this place is kind of just bringing up that feeling. But I think we should try to get to the main chamber. And since that way there's a dead end, I think we should go to the right. Right?
You have left, center, and right. You can go whichever direction you want.
Actually, I'll go center. If anyone wants to come with me, or you can stay here.
I'll follow you, center. Artemis isn't very good at small spaces.
Yes, I'll go along as well. I don't feel like splitting up.
Yeah, I think it might be safer if it's all of us together.
Great.
All right.
You just watch your step.
You all go down center. And you see nature has tried to take over the space that the temple is in. now that no one inhabits it any longer. You see some plants have started to grow between the tiles at your feet. There are some roots that you have to step over. Every once in a while, you see a little bug crawl by on the wall. Things have tried to make this their home again. Ahead, the ceiling starts to rise, and then the room widens out. And Alyssum, you know, this was once a grand chamber. It had a huge dome. It was detailed, intricate, beautiful. And now it's ruined. There is an accidental skylight. So there's bright sun beaming through a gigantic hole in the ceiling where there once was some kind of dome. In the center, you see rainwater has filled up the bottom, and it is now a gigantic pool.
Is it the skylight like this?
It is like that, yes. A little bit bigger. There are huge lily pads floating in the surface and a couple of lotus that are blossoming, deep pink and peachy colors. The lily pads look surprisingly large. They're a little unusual. You've seen them a couple of times in Oasis, but Alyssum, you know, they can normally stand the weight of a human. And the only way to get to any of the other rooms here is to go through. But you're not sure how deep this water is.
Well, I'm afraid that we might have to do some lily pad crossing in order to get to where we're trying to go. I know that I've been able to walk across lily pads in the past, but I don't know if they would withstand the weight of a centaur, for example. Anyone else who's smaller than me, I think, will probably be able to cross no problem. That said, I don't know how deep it is here, this water. This is a relatively new development. So,
Can anyone who's in the room right now make a perception check for me?
It's a 21 for me.
13.
7.
Also 7.
Not very perceptive. Should I roll one for Artemis?
14.
All right, just Jacques. You are looking around the room as they're talking about, are we going to be able to, you know, cross the room on these gigantic lily pads? And you notice there's stuff everywhere. There's bric-a-brac. There are chairs, there are tables that have been pushed over, and it looks like a couple of vines are starting to grow over them. There are books. There are bookshelves that have been destroyed and spilled their contents all over the floor. There are paintings. There are vases. There are some small statues. There are all the tiny little accoutrements of priests. There are censers, little metal censers, and some ruined incense and prayer wheels. The room is full of stuff. And with a 21, you also notice there are bones everywhere. They're kind of hidden amongst the stuff, underneath some tables, underneath the ruined bookshelf.
Everybody, I know that it's a lot to take in, but there are definitely signs of death here. If you look closely, there are bones and there's things are quite disheveled. So I have a feeling that perhaps we need to be on guard.
Thank you, Jacques. Alyssum, you're saying we have to cross only on the lily pads? We cannot swim around them that you know of?
I mean, you're welcome to try. I just don't know how deep the water is, or if there's anything in the water.
Well, to be safe, so everybody has is a little bit of a buff, I'm going to use my emboldening bond on a few of us, if that sounds good, just to give us the benefit of the doubt as we try to handle all this. Not to be selfish, but I am going to give it to myself this round because I'm not the most delicate. Who else feels as if they might need a little bit of help or assistance?
Demmer raises his hand.
Okay. So Dama, and is there two other people who would like a little bit of for the next 10 minutes or so, a little help?
Well,
What does it do? Would it help Artemis?
It gives you that a little bit of that buff, that D4 to an attack, ability check, or saving throw. So just that little extra oomph for 10 minutes.
I'll take it if no one else wants it, but if anyone needs
I
it.
mean, it's listen, if you want it, you can have, if you'd like the buff, I could give you the buff if you would like it. It's on the table.
I'll take the buff.
Okay. I give it to Valara and to Daisy then.
All right, write down that you have a D4 for 10 minutes.
I'm going to cast my dancing lights again, just to light up the room, light up our way.
Sure.
And I'm going to cast them so that they're kind of hovering above the water. Maybe they'll be able to reflect anything that might be swimming underneath.
The water is a little murky. It's a lot of rainwater, so it got recycled and it brought a lot of like particles with it. But you don't see any movement in the water. It's pretty still, except for a couple ripples from rainwater that's dropping from the ceiling.
I'm going to just gently start to put my weight on one of the lily pads.
Okay.
And one of my feet is still on the ledge. And do I feel like I'm supported by the lily pad, or am I starting to sink?
You feel like you're supported, but as you step on it, two things happen at the same time. Technically three. You feel something underneath the lily pad, and you hear a click as it depresses. At once, every door is suddenly blocked off by a slab of stone. You are now stuck in a room, and at the same time, you hear a clattering as all the bones seem to be dragged into the water.
Ooh.
You don't know how many corpses these are from, but they all conjugate in the center of the pool. A beat passes, and slowly, an amalgamation, a giant skeleton made of many bones, rises from the water. It catches algae and lily pads that it breaks off on top of its head as it stands very tall. And we're going to roll initiative.
Oh,
That thing sounds scary.
Yay.
Kim's getting her blood.
I want blood.
All right, Leaf, what'd you get? A 10? And Daisy, what'd you get?
Daisy wants blood, but she only rolled a 5.
Daisy and Valara?
16.
All right.
And Jacques also, he rolled a strong 5.
Okay, between Daisy and Jacques, what's your dex?
3.
0? Okay, Jacques will be after Daisy. And Alyssa, what'd you roll?
11.
11. 11. Okay. Top of the round. This huge skeleton in the center of the water stands up and it sends water cascading away from it. It is bits and bobs of other skeletons. There are finger bones that make up the eye sockets and tiny little finger bones that make up the teeth. It opens its mouth. Not a sound comes out, but you feel a deep rumble underneath your feet. It steps forward. From the water, with a hand made of many hands, it drags a massive scimitar, scraping across the stone and up into the air, and it's going to swipe at Alyssa, who is right in front of it.
Oh dear.
With a 17 to hit.
It's
Okay. Let's see what damage it does. 15 points of damage as it swipes down upon you with this huge scimitar. It's about the size of your body, a little bit smaller. And it cuts a deep gash from shoulder down across your ribs. It hurts. Who is right behind Alyssa at the door?
I think Jacques would be right there because.
All right, Jacques.
Yeah.
It's going to, with an upswing, swipe at you with its scimitar. With a natural 18.
Oh, that'll
Plus
hit,
a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
All right. With its upswing, it catches you. "17 points of damage as it swipes up from rib to shoulder. And this thing is huge. For you, you could, because you're part giant, you could maybe wield this thing. Maybe. It's a large sword. All right. That is going to be its turn. Valara, what would you like to do? From you, I believe you're near the doorway. It's about 15 feet away.
Okay. I cast Bane on this thing, this
Okay.
monstrosity. So it'll have to make a charisma save to beat 16.
Well, thankfully, it has advantage.
Not thankfully.
It has a 17.
Okay, then nothing happens.
All right. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
For a bonus action, I would like to give Daisy and Jacques up ahead Bardic Inspiration, so they each have 1d8.
Nice. Write that down. Get your d8s aside.
Merci.
What can we add that to again?
You can add Bardic Inspiration to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw. It can be added after the roll, but before knowing the outcome.
Cool.
And don't forget, some of us have that little D4.
Yeah.
Hold on to that too.
All right. That is your turn. It is Demer's turn. Demer, knowing he's not an adventurer, but still wanting to help, is going to get out of there as soon as he can. He clops off to the left. On top of these piles of loot and things, it cuts down on his movement, but he still manages to get into a corner. And he has his short bow ready, and he is going to shoot right at this creature. Let's see if he hits. Come on, Demer. Yeah, with a nat 19, Demer. Nicely done. He shoots an arrow, and it gets stuck between two crevices, between two skeleton bits. And he does some damage. However, that's all he can do on his turn. All right, Alyssa, it's your turn.
How far away is this creature from all of us? And yeah.
From you, 5 feet. It's dripping water down on top of you. From Jacques, 10 feet, and from the rest of your party, excluding Demer, who moved away, it's 15 feet.
Okay, I would like to move 15 feet away.
Backwards or left or right?
To the right.
Okay. So you have to climb on top of the piles of loot that are half submerged in water, but you can do so. You just have half speed.
Okay, and then I would like to cast Question. For wall of fire, can I choose how big the fire, how far out it goes?
I don't think so. I think it's specific in the spell.
It says up to 20 feet in diameter, 1 foot thick. But if I do it at like 5 feet in diameter, then that's just going to be on him.
I don't think that the diameter itself is what you can alter. I think it's the range. Read that to me one more time.
The range is up to 120 feet, which I'm definitely close enough.
Yes.
But the ringed wall up to 20 feet in diameter.
Yeah, the language up to, yeah, I'd say you'd be able to change that.
Okay. So I'm going to cast that at 4th level.
Okay.
And that'll be, go back to my page, 5d8.
Wall of Fire is not a roll to hit? Is it just one of those auto spells?
Might be a dex save?
Yeah, it's a dex.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to use my advantage.
Okay. Wait, your advantage for what?
I got the advantage.
But for what are you using it for?
For Wall of Fire, because it is roll to hit. It's a dex save.
Oh, no, I'm rolling my dex save. Yeah,
Copy.
Yeah. Don't waste your advantage. All right. That is a dex 15.
Okay, you missed it. It's a 16. So now 5d8. 14 plus 7, 21.
21 points of fire damage. Tell me what it looks like.
So I'm going to cast this out of my palms and beam it in the skeleton creature's direction. And this wall of fire blazes. There's and it engulfs him and starts to penetrate the bones and burn them. And
you see it go between some of the bones too, and you can see it lighting him up on the inside because he is technically hollow. Mm-hmm. You all see this and you feel heat on your cheeks when this occurs. All right, anything else you'd like to do on your turn, Alyssa?
No.
All right. Leaf, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
So right now there's a wall of fire, right?
No, I think it, or is it
around him? So
but does it stay there or does it dissipate?
Up to a minute.
Up to a minute concentration?
Ooh, okay.
All right, then yes, there is a wall of fire.
Leaf is going to rub his hands together and do one of these things, and he's going to cast conjure animals. And he's going to summon one black, oh shoot, I pulled up 2 sheets. One black dragon wormling, and he's going to summon it sort of like above us, facing the dragon. Is there space for that?
Facing the skeleton?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, if it's up above the cracked ceiling.
Or should I have it sort of like off to the side? I'm trying to...
You do you.
Okay. Well, I want it to be facing him, but like... so he can attack it without hitting us with his breath weapon.
Okay, you can cast him above your group where they are at the doorway?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll cast him above. Okay. And it has to... I think it has its own AC.
Can you roll initiative for your wormling?
Yeah, I mean initiative. That's what I meant to say. My brain is saying things that are not what they are. And that's an 8.
An 8. Okay. Well, funny enough, he actually goes right after you.
And for a bonus action, I'm just gonna touch my club and cast Shillelagh,
Okay.
just in case I need to use it. And now the dragon's gonna attack, or the wormling's gonna attack.
Mhm.
It's going to use its breath weapon.
Okay.
And so the skeleton guy has to make a dex saving throw.
Okay. Um, 18.
Okay, that makes it. But it's gonna take half. And
It actually will not.
it won't?
No.
It doesn't take half damage?
You see your wormling shoot fire from its mouth as its breath weapon in the direction of the skeleton, and the skeleton bends inhumanly backwards to evade it.
Oh. Okay. Then I guess that's the dragon's turn.
Can you and Alyssa, who had hit it, roll perception? Just the two of you.
11.
17.
Okay, with a 17. Alyssa, you know this. You're watching your fire hit it. You're watching Leaf's fire hit it. It's taking the damage, but it doesn't look like it's doing enough. It doesn't look like the kind of damage you'd expect
From the fire?
from what you've used so far.
Any of this?
It was I don't know if this changes anything, but it's an acid breath.
Doesn't.
Okay, just want to
Doesn't change.
make sure.
Very pointedly. Ahem, ahem. All right. That is the wormling's turn. Daisy, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
Daisy. Daisy's going to try a new spell. So she's going to throw her. It says for this spell, she wants to try Conjure Barrage.
Okay.
It says you throw a non-magical weapon or fire a piece of non-magical ammunition into the air to create a cone of identical weapons that shoot forward and then disappear. Each creature in a 60-foot cone must succeed on a dex saving throw. Is it possible for me to do that without hitting my friends?
Yeah. You can choose the point above you to throw your item. And I mean, with your level 9, you know what you're doing. You would be able to control the spell to the point that you would be able to get it away from your friends.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to shoot my crossbow.
Okay.
So, and then it's just going to, so Daisy picks up her crossbow and shoots, and she's just learned this spell. And all of a sudden the crossbow duplicates and turns into like a whole cone of bolts that go flying at it.
All right. You said this was a dex?
It's a dex save.
Okay. Well, it's a nat 20.
Okay. Well, does it still take half damage, or does it not take damage on a nat 20?
Technically, it is not going to, but because of something very specific. As you shoot this, using your spell, it somehow manages to fall apart completely. In the blink of an eye, tons of bones just fall to the ground and they disappear under the water. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
I don't trust it. I'm not sending Artemis in there right now because I don't know what the heck's going on. So no, I'm not going to do anything else.
All right. Bottom of the round, Jacques, what would you like to do?
As he sees all this, he's like, "Oh, what is going on? It's so dangerous, this thing." So he's going to cast spiritual weapon as his bonus action. That traditional heart mace that is going to swing down. He's going to cast it at 3rd level. So it's a little stronger. So he swings with that. Oh, it was cocked and almost a natural 20. Come on, Gil. Okay, that's still good.
What are you attacking right now?
With a spiritual weapon.
No, what are you attacking right now?
Oh, the giant skeleton creature.
The one that just disappeared under the water?
Yes, I'm casting the weapon in the direction that it fell.
Okay. Then you're gonna have to. You're gonna roll this with disadvantage because it is currently.
Okay.
You don't see it. It just fell into hundreds of pieces of bone. You don't see it.
Okay. Yeah. Come on. I hope that first roll was good. It's all right. Okay, so that would be a 17 to hit with disadvantage.
You cast your spiritual weapon, flinging it into the water. You don't know.
Okay. So if that's the case, like I'm swinging with the mace kind of towards the water, then I am going to use I'm just gonna that's it. That's gonna be it for my turn, and I'll end there.
All right. You see the light from your mace swinging around underneath the water as it tries to find purchase. Top of the round. With a sudden rush of water, the skeleton reforms closer, right on the edge of the water. He bears down on Daisy and Jacques and Valara, who are all near the doorway, and Leaf, who is still at the doorway as well. He is going to swipe with the scimitar that he drags up from the bottom of the pond. First at Daisy. He's going to roll 17 to hit.
That hits.
All right. Swiping up against you. 15 points of damage as he cuts a line up your leg with the scimitar. He is, in his next action, going to swipe across. Hi, Boone. Against someone else. Let me roll and see who he's going to hit. That's going to be Jacques. He's going to swipe up from the water, up along Daisy's leg, and then to the side across the front of Jacques. And with his gigantic scimitar, it's a 13 to hit.
Oh, it misses.
All right, he goes a little wide.
Yeah.
You see it turn and look into the corner, and Valara, you can tell it is looking at Demer.
Okay, how tall is this being, the skeleton?
Well, thankfully it is your turn. So the skeleton is about 10 feet tall.
Okay. All right, then, and there's like space above it?
Yeah. Just
okay.
There's a little bit of ceiling space. There's really not too much above it, but then there's the dome and then the broken part of the dome.
Well, tell me if this works. Can I cast something that would have a 20-foot range and have it just affect the top of the skeleton, but not me and my friends?
Well, what's the radius on it?
A 20-foot radius? Yeah. That's what I meant, not range. Yeah. Okay. All right, then I'm going to cast Synaptic Static. And it's a new spell. So Synaptic Static. So I choose a point within range and I cause psychic energy to just explode above its head. It has to make an intelligence save against a 16.
I tried that one too, Alice.
You did that too? Yay!
All right. An intelligence?
Yes.
Ugh, that's only a 12.
Okay, so it fails, and not only does it take 8d6 damage, which I will roll momentarily, but after a failed save, the target has muddled thoughts for 1 minute. And during that time, it has to roll a d6 and subtract the number rolled from all of its attack rolls and ability checks, as well as its constitution saving throws to maintain concentration. The target can make an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a successful save. So basically make an intelligence roll at the end of each of its turns.
Okay. I was trying to decide, because it's a skeleton, it doesn't necessarily have thoughts, but I'm going to let this. Yeah. So it's a d6 minus from everything it rolls?
From attack rolls, ability checks, and constitution saving throws.
Okay.
And then it can make an intelligence save at the end of each of its turns. And then damage wise, let me roll some d6s here. 8d6, and I have 66. So let's see, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 plus 6 is what, 21? Okay, and then 2 more on top of that. It'll be 26 points of damage.
Okay. You cast this spell, and you send this web of psychic energy crashing down on top of it, and you feel it take purchase in the creature's consciousness, because it doesn't have a mind. But you do get the distinct sense it doesn't take as much damage as you're expecting.
Okay. And that'll be my turn.
All right. It is Demer's turn, and poor Demer is just gonna try and shoot again. And then he will move again with his short bow. He is going to miss. A little concerned. You can tell your poor boyfriend, who has not really been in a lot of combat in his life, sees this gigantic pseudo-skeleton made of smaller skeletons, and he just shoots wildly. It goes soaring through the air, and the skeleton's already looking at him, so he panics a little bit. He is going to move as fast as he can further along this long wall. So you see him on this left wall going a little bit further into the room, trying to just get away. All right. That's Demer's turn. Alyssa, it's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to throw a dagger his way, and I'm going to cast it with green flame blade.
Okay.
So will 12 be enough to hit?
It will not.
Okay.
This is where you could add your advantage if you wanted.
True.
It is up to you, though.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do my advantage.
Okay. Roll with advantage.
Ooh, 24 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay. And then, copy. Okay. So it's 1d8, 1d8, 5 points of damage.
Okay. And with your green flame blade?
That's with it.
That's with it? Okay. How much of that is green flame blade damage?
5.
What damage does your dagger do?
Oh, I do both of them?
Yeah. It's like, you remember when I was Moira and I would do like ensnaring strike or something that was cast on my weapon? It would do the weapon damage and then the ensnaring strike damage. That's what that is.
Okay, so the dagger damage is 6 points, and green flame blade is 5.
Okay. Make a perception check for me.
11.
Okay. All right, Alyssa, anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
No.
Okay. Leaf, it's your turn.
So Demer's moved down the left wall, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of like clustered here.
At the doorway, yeah.
And the skeleton is like right in front of us.
Yeah, except Alyssa, who's a little bit to the right. Or on the doorway.
To the right.
Mm-hmm. Skeleton is like right here in front of you, this big hulking thing, but it's looking at Demer off to the left.
So I want to cast Tidal Wave.
Okay.
And it says, it's another one of those that says up to like 30 feet in length. So I'd like to cast it not as long, and I just want to like throw water at it.
That's length. Can you do width? What's the width of this thing? Are you able to alter the radius at all?
It all says up to. So it would say up to 30 feet long, up to 10 feet wide, and up to 10 feet tall.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
So, because I want to just like shove it away with water.
Sure.
And so it has to make another dex saving throw.
Okay, and it has that -6 from Valara. So let me roll this. Oh, yeah, he's definitely going to fail that.
Oh, okay. In that case, the giant wave of water crashes into it, and it has to. It's knocked prone, and it's going to take 4d8 bludgeoning damage. That's a nice roll. That's 20 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay. Make a perception check. You're watching the water. You pull the tidal wave from the pond itself, and you see the depth of the water. It's very deep. For Valara, who's rather tall, it would be about chest height if you were walking into it. When you pull the water back, you see bric-a-brac underneath, just littering the floor, and you shove this thing at him. What was your perception?
18.
18.
I see.
You've seen other things not necessarily do exactly what you were expecting them to do. This, it takes the full effect from.
Yeah.
All right.
Punch it.
Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
Is it an action to take out my weapon?
Normally it is, but I am not one of those DMs that cares about that. I think that's stupid. If you're like above a certain level, I feel like you'd be able to whip the weapon out without an action. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Can I just use my bonus action just to whip out
Sure.
my club?
Yeah, why not?
And that'll be my turn.
Okay.
And
it's for worms.
Yeah. I'm just gonna double check. Okay. I just wanted to double check that Shillelagh wasn't a concentration spell. Because my worm is. And it's going to, it's gonna try again with its breath weapon.
Okay.
So another dex save from. We're making a skeleton dance, you know.
You really are.
Spinning backwards.
Oh, that's a nat 1.
Oh. Well, I don't want to roll because it gives me a set amount of damage. So,
okay.
It will take 22 acid damage.
Okay.
The dragon just it's this shimmery black dragon, since it's technically a fae. Its mouth opens and it shoots this shimmery green acid at it.
Pretty. It is prone, so it wouldn't have even had advantage on that. Again, you see it does take the damage, but it's not doing what you're expecting. It's not enough.
Fine. It's something.
It's something.
That I have.
It's something, and anything counts. All right, that's the worm's turn. Daisy.
All right. Daisy, is there you said there are a bunch of objects around.
Yes.
Right? So what looks kind of heavy and she's going to catapult something at him.
Okay. There are chairs, there are vases, there are busts, like little marble statues. There are chunks of rock everywhere.
He's going to grab one of those marble statues and just hurl it at him.
Okay.
With magic.
Okay.
At a second level.
Okay.
I was just picturing little Daisy just hurling a statue, trying to hurl a statue at this thing.
The creature must make a dex save.
It's the only save he's ever gonna make.
I know, apparently.
It's a 17.
Oh, if we tie, right?
Even with the 6. Yeah, meets it, beats it.
Okay, meets it, beats it. Um, okay, so when it strikes, it didn't strike, so it just hurls past him.
All right, you see this beautiful marble bust of a woman, a tiefling woman with beautiful curled horns, hit the far side wall and shatter.
Boo. Okay, well, I tried. And then with my bonus,
It's a good thing that pedestal or that bust isn't something you need for the story.
hopefully not. Oh, we love throwing things in your way, Rachel.
I know you do.
So Artemis, so is he in the water?
Yeah, he's prone in the water right now, so you can only see about half of him. He's like half submerged.
So Artemis can't really get to him.
She can if she goes in the water, but she doesn't have a swimming speed, so she's probably gonna get like half speed.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't think Artemis is gonna go in the water. That sounds dangerous for my very
giant metallic hippo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Swim.
What?
Hippos know how to swim.
That is true, but this is one made out of metal, so
she might rest a little bit.
She might rest. All right. Well, then I tried.
No bonus action?
I just destroyed an artifact.
You did damage to something. Jacques, it's your turn. Your spiritual weapon is still in the water, a little bit behind the skeleton where he is submerged now.
Great. Then I'm gonna Jacques gonna use just a bonus action to move it to get it close enough to hit, hopefully. With the 12, I don't think hits. Wait, I have bonus bardic inspiration. I'm gonna try to use my bardic inspiration. Okay, so that makes it a 17, and I forgot my little thingy. This is 18 to hit.
And 18 just hits.
Okay. That's going to be, it's okay. That's 13 points of radiant damage.
All right.
And then with his main action, because that was just a bonus, he's gonna put his little finger out and he's gonna be like, I told you, and he's gonna toll the dead.
Okay.
So that's a wisdom save of 17 needed by the creature.
My first roll was a 19, and it was wisdom?
Yes.
So it's a 21.
Definitely passes then. And I believe it takes none because it's a cantrip.
It does. It takes no damage. You hear these bells ringing off, but they sound a little out of tune.
Maybe next time.
All right. We are at the top of the round. It is the skeleton's turn. It's going to, with its action, lunge out of the water.
I'm going to cast counter spell.
On what?
I don't know.
Counter spell! You're not allowed to move!
On whatever spell he does.
He's not doing a spell.
Oh no.
He's standing up!
Okay, well, if he tries anything, I'm gonna hop in.
If he casts a spell in your vicinity, I will let you know.
Okay.
He just stands up.
Okay.
And because he was prone, that's his whole action. So, next in the initiative is Valara. Valara, what would you like to do?
So for my bonus action, I'd like to cast Demmer, some bardic inspiration.
Okay.
Because my poor boy needs it. And then I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers.
Okay.
On this thing, which is also psychic damage. I'm going to cast it at 4th level. So I whisper a discordant melody that only the one creature can hear, racking it with terrible pain. It has to make a wisdom save.
All right.
It's to 16. And subtract 6.
18 naturally. Oh god. All right. Never mind. Bye, D6. You're dead to me. 17.
Oh, so it passes. Okay.
No, that's a 16. Never mind. I did my math wrong. So that was a 16.
But meets it, beats it, and it meets my 16.
It does.
So on a failed save, it'll take 3d6 damage and must immediately use its reaction.
On a successful save, it takes half, right?
No, it says
Because it succeeded.
oh yeah, sorry. Hang on. I was reading it wrong.
What is the -6 for?
She cast a spell that was like a it was the effect of the muddled mind from the psychic thing that she did earlier.
Yeah, on a successful save, it takes half as much damage and doesn't have to move away. And this would be 66 damage, so it's 3d6 damage.
Okay, roll your 3d6.
So 6 points
Okay.
of damage.
Valara, I won't even have you make a check for this. You notice it succeeded, and it doesn't take any of that damage at all.
Mm.
It didn't take it on mine either.
Okay. Well,
What an interesting pattern emerging.
Mm-hmm.
Any bonus actions you'd like to use?
I already used it to give Demmer
Right,
Bardic
that's
Inspiration.
right. Your poor boy off in the corner looks a little soothed after getting your Bardic Inspiration. Still very concerned. All right. That was Valara. It is Demmer. Demmer is going to do the same old thing, and he's going to shoot with a... Let me add his... Oh, nice Bardic Inspiration. That hits. All right. So let me move over to his character sheet. He's going to do some damage. All right. He shoots a crossbow, and it sticks right in the center of this creature. It opens its amalgamation mouth of many finger bones, and it looks like it might be making a noise. You just can't hear it. All right. That is Demmer's turn. That's all the poor boy can do. Alyssa, it's your turn.
I'm going to grapple with this thing.
I don't know if you can grapple with it because it's technically huge. It is a huge creature. I think you can only grapple with things that are your size or smaller.
Okay.
You can grapple with its hand?
No. Thanks, Paul. Okay, I'm going to use my crossbow. I'm going to attack it with my crossbow.
Okay.
24 to hit.
That'll hit. Do your damage.
And that'll be 10 points of damage.
Nice. Alyssa, it takes the full amount of damage.
Yes! Bye.
All 10 points.
Piercing
All right.
damage. And for my bonus action, I'm going to drop the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to cast my spiritual weapon on him. So my floating electric blue orb of light.
Mm-hmm.
Send it over to him. And let's try that again.
Oh.
Wait, I have an advantage.
You used your one advantage, remember?
Remember?
No, you did with your dagger. You used your recap advantage on the dagger that you were throwing at him because you rolled a 12, and then you used your advantage and you rolled higher.
Oh, you're right. Okay, but I'm lucky.
You are lucky. You've used 1 point already today. I think you have 3 total at this level, so you can use another one if you want.
So that'll be a dirty 20 to hit.
All right, that'll hit. Roll your damage.
And 8 points of sorcerer damage.
I believe that is radiant. Right?
It doesn't say.
Spiritual weapon, radiant damage.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You notice it does not take the full from that. It takes some.
Okay.
All right, Alyssa, that's your turn. Leaf, it's your turn.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So, I would like to, but only if I can do this.
Yes.
I would like to drop my dragon and cast it again to summon an awakened tree. Does that technically count as a creature?
An awakened what?
Tree? A
Free?
Tree.
Cree?
That's tree. Like leafy,
Tree.
greeny.
Treetops,
A
tree.
plant that has
Oh, a
come to
tree.
life. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That's a plant. That is no.
But it's an awakened tree. Okay. I just wanted to see if that's something. It's on my
No,
it's on a
because,
CR list, and so I was like, I'm just gonna ask.
This is for conjure.
Oh, you're
Animals?
right. This is conjure animals. I forgot it's creatures.
Not an animal.
Not an animal. That is true. Okay, then
Good try.
I'm gonna keep. I figured I'd ask. Then I'm gonna keep my dragon up. And then in that case, I'll just tidal wave him again.
Okay.
This is my last tidal wave.
Another dex check on this gigantic skeleton who is
Dense,
standing
skelly
up.
dense.
That's a 14.
That fails.
All right.
So another 48 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone again. This roll 9. Oh, another 20. Another
All
20
right.
bludgeoning damage.
Again, you know it's only going to take a portion of that, but it's just enough.
I thought it took the full bludgeoning.
Oh, you're right.
Last
Never
time.
mind. You completely obliterate this thing. You pull the tidal wave up, even though it is magic, and this creature is immune to magic, which is why it wasn't taking full damage. You cast this bludgeoning damage with which it is vulnerable to, and it cascades into the gigantic skeleton. All of the water pulsing through it, it scatters. It disappears into pieces, and skeleton bits are thrown into corners of the room, and some sink underneath the pool, and all is still once again. And on that note, we're going to take a break.
Oh!
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you in a couple minutes.
Welcome back, everyone. So we have just destroyed a gigantic skeleton made of other bits and bobs of skeleton. And you are now once again in the room, alone. Just your companions. But these massive slabs of stone that blocked off your doorways are still blocked.
Does anyone have speak with stone?
Is that a thing?
No.
That'd be cool.
I wish. Maybe I'll make that spell someday.
Are there any like insignia, images, anything like that on the doors?
Anyone who is looking can make an investigate check.
Can I still use my bardic inspiration?
Oh yeah. And the 1d4 if I cast on you.
15 investigation.
I think bardic inspiration you can only use once.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't used it yet, but
I don't
okay.
think you have, yeah.
You've got
so can
I got a 16.
Somebody used both their bardic inspiration and their d4 for something.
I used mine, but the d4 stays for 10 minutes. So I
Perfect.
just used
So-
the d4.
I knew it was somebody.
well, I got 18. I didn't need to use my bardic inspiration.
I got a 16.
16. And Valara and Alyssa, what'd you get?
What are we rolling again? Sorry.
Investigation.
Investigation. Okay. 15.
And Alyssa?
15.
15. All right. So Leaf, you're a little preoccupied because you go over to the pond water and you realized on that last tidal wave, you saw a tiny little fish in there. So you're going to look at the fish with your 5.
maybe catch a fish.
Yeah.
For my new crab friend.
For your new crab friend. So yeah, I'll let you do that. Absolutely. You can just grab one from the water. The rest of you are looking around and the doors each have different things written on them. The one behind you has nothing. The one to your left, who went to the left? Who went to the one directly opposite you, and who went to the one on the right?
I'll go
I-
left.
I can go
Go
to
right.
the center one.
Alyssa, which one did you go to?
I'll go to the center one.
Okay, got a little timeless shock. All right, so the one on the left, which I think Daisy went through, it says, don't overthink. The one on the right, which Valara went to, says, the color of a leaf, the color of a stone, temperate and mild, I am the way home.
Okay, hang on.
I'll put it in chat.
The color of a leaf, the color of a stone.
Temperate and mild. I'm your way home or something.
I am the way home. It's in chat now.
Temperate and mild, I am the way home.
Yes. And the last one, the one in the, yes?
Oh, nothing. I've started taking notes via dictation because it's just faster for me.
Interesting. I once tried to dictate an entire campaign idea to myself when I was driving, and I went back and I have no idea what it says. It's just garbled. The last one that both Jacques and Alyssa are looking at says, I have a head but no body, a tail but no feet. Use me to move, but don't linger. Be brief. And I put that in chat as well.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yes.
I feel like we have to start searching. I feel these objects, these things, these riddles are going to be in objects. There's so many objects. Hopefully I didn't destroy one of them.
Yes,
I'm a merciful DM, you did not.
Let's investigate then, shall we, around the room? Or what do you want to do, Daisy?
Well, I feel like, okay, don't overthink. I have no idea. The color of a
Of course,
leaf.
Daisy got that one.
Don't overthink. And what's Daisy doing? She's overthinking. The color of a leaf, color of a
Stone.
stone. I can't read my own writing. Temperate and mild, I am the way home.
It's also in the Zoom chat.
Yes, I'm reading it now from the Zoom chat because I can't read my own scribbles. All right, and then I have a head but no body, a tail but no feet. Something that has a head and a tail, but no body and no feet. Use me to move, but don't linger. Be brief. I'm just going to start seeing what sort of objects are around and see if anything makes sense.
All right, roll an investigation check.
Me too, me too.
Okay, roll an investigation check.
15.
Ooh, 24. Wait, I'm gonna roll Jacques thing too. It'll make it even better. 27.
Okay.
Do we think these are two separate things, or that all these inscriptions are part of one thing? Because I'm thinking a coin, a head but no body, a tail but no feet.
Ooh, Valara, I like the way you think.
I like the way you think. I've been taking lessons.
But it sounds like we shouldn't spend too much time on it because it says use me to move, but don't linger, be brief. So if we find a coin, we should
Maybe.
Deposit it in the slot,
Yeah.
if there is one.
Oh.
Deposit in the slot.
Ooh, Alyssa, joining our game.
That is a sex joke. That's good.
Oh, slot. Okay.
The color of a leaf. Leaf, what color are you again?
I'm green.
Green like a tree leaf. Okay, just making sure. I don't know of any green stones except jade. Do I see any jade lying around?
Gold.
So what did everyone roll for investigate?
Oh, right.
I rolled a 16.
16.
Should I?
I'm gonna use.
roll?
If
I'm
you're
gonna
looking.
You still have it for a little bit longer, the little D4.
Okay, I'm gonna use Jacques D4 to make my total for investigation 14.
Okay. Anybody else looking?
I rolled a
10.
27.
27, that's right. And
10.
Alyssa, where are you looking? 10.
15.
15. All right. Leaf, you're preoccupied with fish. You're just trying to catch a bunch of little ones so you can feed it to your tiny crab friend, who you check in your pocket and he's still there, and it looks like he's punctured a good berry with 2 of his pincers, and he's trying to bite into it, but his mouth keeps sliding off of it.
Oh.
He's very small. He's a wee thing.
I shove a fish in the sand in my pocket.
Okay, he starts to go after it. Those that roll the 15 and above, you find a huge amount of items. You find a list of taverns. You find some little wood statues. They look like toys. You find a bunch of string and cloth. You do find a coin. You find a thin, what looks like a brass key, but it's broken on the top. You find a tinderbox. You find 3 gold pieces scattered around in here. You find a couple vials of ink and ruined quills. You find some prayer beads, some more incense that is definitely ruined. Looks like you find someone's wedding ring. You find lots of books. There are a lot of books here. There are books on the seasons. There are books on dragons. There's a book of poetry about autumn, fall.
Daisy,
Yes.
what color is the portal egg? It is the way home. We can use it to move. I don't know if it has a head and tail, and I don't remember the color.
Yeah, it looks like an ice ball, does it not?
It's just like a little thing of compact ice that you can see through, but it cracks open like an egg.
I'm wondering, don't overthink. Does that mean don't open the books, maybe?
It could mean, I mean, for me, it was just like, don't overthink, just push open the door. But that's me, because when someone says, don't overthink, I don't, and I push the door.
Try to open the door, Jacques.
Why don't you give it a try then?
I think that makes sense, but I'm probably wrong. So I'm going to try. So yeah, I just go over to the door and I try to push it open, not overthinking.
I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to try. You go over to the don't overthink wall of stone that's blocking the entrance. And you try to push. And you fall through onto the ground.
Wait, through the door?
Through the stone.
Ooh.
Ah! Wow!
Oh,
Just laying
okay.
in the dark, and you feel cobwebs and dust on your face.
Oh, this is gross. Oh my goodness. I stand back up and I pull out. Do I just have like cobwebs?
Yeah, no, you have cobwebs tangled in your long hair. It looks like you maybe went face first into a cobweb and there's just dust on your cheeks.
Oh, you poor thing.
What was in there?
No, let me see. Cobwebs is in my mind.
Ugh.
Perhaps we could push the spear inside and move it around so it can catch the cobwebs, and then we can poke a head back in.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
This I'm not having the web in your mouth. You want something else in the mouth sometimes, right? Not just the web, right?
Never
Sex
the
joke.
web.
Sex joke. Leaf, are you taking notes?
He's looking at the fish.
Well,
Yeah, he's way too focused on the fish.
I feel like there's also something we could do with the cobwebs being, joke about.
They're the color of a
Yes.
stone.
But
You mean for the sex joke?
Oh, you mean for the sex jokes, Daisy? I see.
Cobwebs is pretty self-explanatory there, I think. Here in the cobwebs.
Something white that gets all over your face.
Sticky.
Anyways, back to the game.
Sorry, everyone. Let's get on
We're not
track.
sorry.
Started it. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, so I hope you wrote down this list of items that you found, because you had a bunch.
Yes, we had a lot of
Bills.
I'm definitely going to take all those gold coins for sure.
Okay.
And the little coin that was not golden but was a coin.
We bust a head but no body, the color of a stone.
The book about
Autumn?
the book about autumn is interesting to me as a leaf, and also temperate and mild. I think of fall and I think of autumn, but
That
that
is.
might-
I like that.
Wait, should we look inside this cobweb? Is it just cobwebs?
It's just cobwebs. Don't overthink.
Noted.
And no ice sphere thing in sight, right?
When Jacques fell through, from what you could catch, no, you didn't see. It's just another corridor.
Let's go to the door and see what the coin shows us.
Which door are you going to?
The one to the center, the one that has I have a head but no body.
All right.
Do we see anywhere we can put a coin?
Make an investigation check.
I'm looking
Very
too.
That's what I get for saying that because I rolled a 3. And
And
still have Jacques' thing.
Mhm.
I rolled a 12.
16. When I use all my things.
Okay. Leaf, are you still just focusing on the fish?
I think if anyone calls Leaf's attention, he'll look away from the fish. But currently, he's just like, oh, small fish. My new friend needs fish.
Priorities.
Yeah.
I like it. It's precious. Yeah, you managed to catch. They're like tiny anchovies. You just start to pick them up. They're koi the size of anchovies. All right.
aw.
With your 16, you just barely managed to catch this with your eyes. You go over the door once and then twice, Daisy, because you're so detail oriented. You're going along the seams, along the left side and along the bottom, and it looks like this mechanism dropped just a thick slab of stone into the doorway. And this one is real. You touch it and it's a solid, heavy stone, and it's a big boy, big chunk. You're going up the right side and you notice the indentation on the side where there's a space between the doorway and the stone that fell in it. It looks like there's a little bit more of an opening, just in like that big. Like it's widened just a little bit more than the rest.
Alyssa, do you want to try the coin?
Sure. Give her one of the coins.
She'll
Right.
stick it in.
Okay, without looking at the coin, you put it in and you begin to hear noises in the background. There's a click, 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 click. And you can't see it, but you hear the sounds of like a Rube Goldberg machine as it goes through and it hits this toggle, and that toggle does this to that pedestal, and this and that and this and that. It's a bunch of things that affect each other until eventually you hear a creak, 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 in this metallic sound as the door begins to lift slowly. It takes its sweet time, though.
It says be brief. I don't want to get trapped in there, but Daisy's going to start sticking her head kind of underneath as it's lifting to see what's underneath there.
All right. It looks like a corridor that just goes straight down.
Should we go down it or should we try to figure out this third door?
I think we should try to figure out the third door because we have extra coins. So if we need to use them to open the door again, we can. Yes.
Good
If
thing.
it like closes or anything.
All right. Okay. Does it stay open or does it start closing again?
It's not even fully open yet.
Okay. As long as we have more coins, I guess we could try again if we need to. Any ideas on this last door then?
What was the first clue?
The first clue was don't overthink.
And that was the door that you could just go through.
So the remaining clue for the door that you haven't opened is the color of a leaf, the color of a stone, temperate and mild, I am the way home.
So green and gray.
Or autumn colored leaves.
Is the
What?
journal
True.
or the book of poetry, is it brown or green?
It has a photo on it, on the cover, a drawing. When you take a look at it, it is a winding path that leads to a little house that has smoke curling out of a chimney, and there are autumn leaves and autumn trees all along either side of the road.
That looks like the way home.
Yes, maybe also the contents of the book are about home or something like that. So it seems like a proper fit.
Should we look at the book? Let's open it up.
All right. Does anyone in the group that is looking at the book speak Sylvan?
I do.
All right.
Oh, I speak Sylvan too.
All right, then Daisy and Valara, you're looking at this elegant script. It looks mostly Sylvan, but it is a dialect that you've never seen. There are certain curves to the letters that make them completely different in meaning, depending on the inflection. And ancient Sylvan, proper ancient Sylvan, had hand signals that went with certain words as well. It was a dual language. It was a language of the voice, but also the hand.
I'm not sure I can decide. Demmer, would you come please take a look at this?
Let's see what languages Demmer speaks.
I assumed as a centaur, he probably spoke Sylvan too, right?
Did I build him? I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he speaks Sylvan. He comes over and he looks at it and he squints for a second. His handsome brow furrowed, and he says, yeah,
Isn't he cute when he's concentrating?
Oh, stop. It looks familiar. It is a poem, and it talks about someone coming home from the market, or execution.
Oh goodness, a public execution in the market square?
Well, the words they're very similar. It depends on how it's spoken and the hand gesture that goes with it. I mean, I can try and say it if you'd like.
Please.
Yes, please try. And Daisy's going to just look at him like,
Oh, okay. All right, I'll try. And he still has his bardic inspiration, so I'm going to roll.
Oh, and the 1d4
performance.
because
And
I
the
cast it
1d4.
on him too.
It's true. Yes, you did, thankfully. All right.
what is he rolling right now? A check?
A performance.
I'll flash of genius him too if he needs it.
All right. What does that add?
+5.
Okay. He takes the book into his hands and he clears his throat and he begins to speak in ancient Sylvan, doing some of the hand symbols while still holding the book ahead of him. And it's clumsy at first, but especially the way he speaks it, it's elegant. It's beautiful. The language itself sounds like poetry, and the hand gestures are very smooth and graceful. And as he gets to the end, he speaks the last word. And both of you, Daisy and Valara, you can catch him saying words that you understand. And it's a story. It's a story about a husband who comes home from the market, and he is looking for his wife and his children. One of the children got taken home by the Fae. And it's this short epic about he needs to go hunting to get a thing to sacrifice to the Fae to get his child back. With the whole central thing being bringing things home, bringing him home, bringing his child home. And then the door begins to open. It makes that same metallic creak, 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 creak as the door slowly begins to rise.
Well,
Les bon.
it says it's the way home, so perhaps we should go down this door.
Was someone talking about an execution?
It seems like the translation is not the execution one. It was the market from the sun.
It depends on the way you translate it, because again, the words are so similar. It could be that he was coming home from an execution of a Fae that got captured.
Oh, oh nice, the door's open.
Yeah, the door is open. I think this used to be a lullaby, actually.
Then it might be an execution. Some lullabies are really dark.
It does. I remember the tune. It was really dark. It was really pretty.
Is there from one of the three doors? Is it cold there? Is it like a breeze?
There is. Can everybody that's at the right door make a perception check for me?
Nat 20.
Nice.
25. Oh wait, perception, no. 20. Unnatural.
Just 11.
Okay. All right. Everyone notices that there is a little bit of cold coming from down this dark corridor. And you see at the very end, far away, a faint pinprick of light, and it shifts and changes colors. But Jacques, with your natural 20, as this door slowly opens and you hear these metallic ping, 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 pings in the background, you realize these little metallic pings are actually a tune, like a music box. One of the small crank metal ones with the prongs that hit. So you are able to enter and you hear this do 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 over and over and over. And let me see how Demmer does. He notices it too. And he puts his head to the wall to listen in. And he turns and looks over his shoulder at all of you and he says, I can hear the lullaby. That's very odd. Anyways, we should go, shouldn't we? I think we're pressed for time.
This is a very unique altar temple. Special.
Yes.
Shall we go?
Let's go.
Quickly, yes.
Is anyone going to get Leaf?
Leaf. Leaf.
Oh yeah.
Leaf,
yeah.
come this way. The sex jokes are this way, Leaf. Okay.
Leaf scurries over there.
All right. Leaf, I'll say you hear this too now that it's been pointed out. You hear this repeating simple pattern in metallic pings in the wall. You head down this corridor.
We're going down that corridor where the lullaby is coming from?
I'm assuming, unless you want to go in one of the others. All right. You head down the corridor. You have to duck your head a couple of times because you catch sight of a cobweb. And up ahead, that light show is still going over and over and over, and you see different lights, different colors, and it gets colder and colder the further in you go until you get to the doorway at the end of the hall. And it's a giant open arched door, and on the floor are tiles that are set in a circular pattern, and they get larger and larger as they go out. And in the center of the room is a very bizarre mechanism. It looks like an astrarium. It fills the entire room. It is large and metallic. It has rings that circulate and move over and loop through each other. It's a series of rings, starting from the largest one. They go smaller and smaller and smaller. And they have little bulbs on them, little golden bulbs that look like they indicate different things. It looks like something that's tracking a star's pattern. And in the center is this giant golden orb, and it has this outer shell of gold that's rotating very quickly. But you notice a couple of these loops, these giant golden hoops that have these little bulbs on them, are stuck because a huge spire of ice is piercing up through them. You can hear them creaking as they try and move over and over, but they can't because of this ice.
Wow.
Doc, should we do what we came here to do then?
Yes, it's just what a feat of nature. This is a very weird contraption. Daisy, have you ever made anything like this?
You know, it's quite fascinating. It looks to me like an astrarium. But I'm not quite sure what the mechanisms do. Can Daisy do like a, I don't know, investigation?
Yeah, do an investigation check, and because you are who you are, you can roll with advantage.
Woohoo! Because I am who I am.
Yep.
Okay. 17. I'm going to use my bardic inspiration, which I haven't used yet.
Sure.
Make it really good. 24.
All right. With a 24. Astrariums are very rare because they are incredibly complex machines to make. And machines at this time are also just naturally rare. Only a few artificers really exist, and especially very few who are able to make something of this nature and this size. You come up to about halfway up the machine. It takes up the entire room. It is magnificent. If you've ever seen Dark Crystal in Agra's home, there's that giant astrarium. It's that in scale, in size.
I was managing the Lovecraft Country.
I haven't seen Lovecraft Country.
Thing. Oh,
Anyways.
you're gonna like it.
I know I'm gonna like it.
Daisy is just like completely enamored, and
It's awe-inspiring.
Like if she's ever been like turned on by a machine, this is it.
Yep. Understandably. It's elegant. There's no frills. It's very simple, but it's still beautiful and graceful in its movements. It's a well-oiled machine, and boy, is that hot. You don't notice anything like particular other than that. It's tracking some kind of alignment of planets and stars. And the closer you look at these gold bulbs, there's very tiny etchings in them that indicate like clouds and patterns of weather or craters. It's a very unique piece.
All right, Jacques, let's get rid of this ice spire so I can see it actually move the way it's supposed to.
Yes, I want to make sure, Daisy, that you can get some brass today. And then I am going to go and stab the ice.
Are you going to do ceremony first?
Yes, the ceremony in Ice Spire.
All right.
And Jacques is kind of laughing and chuckling to himself because of how enamored Daisy is with the machine.
All right. You go about starting your ceremony. You go through the motions. You are getting to the last bits of your ingredients. Thankfully, you stretch them a little bit, but they are just enough to go all the way around in a ring. All of these flora ingredients, these pine branches, these berries, these things that are reminiscent of your goddess, of Blanca, and you even have a couple of dried out pomegranate seeds to throw in there as well. And you dip the pine branch that you have into that holy water that you grabbed that looks like juice, and you smear it on and you do your ceremony. You reach out, you feel all of these souls, and through ceremony you feel them release like a sigh, and you see no longer faces behind the ice. It disappears, and it is now empty and hollow and still very much in the way.
Yeah, and then I'll take the spear and I'll just be like, "This is the last one for the team, everybody. Here goes." And
right.
I'm just gonna spear it.
All
Shatter
right.
that thing.
Alyssa, this is your first time seeing the spear. So this ice spire is huge. It's like a giant icicle, but jutting up from the ground. And it's very similar to the one that you disappeared into. In fact, you think it might be the same one, even though you didn't disappear in this room. You feel like maybe the root of this ice spire goes deeper than this room. But you see this plain silver spear that looks like a plain officer's spear dig into the ice. And as it does, it starts to make that high-pitched whistling sound that happens when something incredibly hot, a burning hot coal, hits a block of ice. It whistles and cries, and you see sparks of all pastel colors shooting from the head of this spear until finally a crack forms all the way up, spidering from the bottom to the top. In a split second, it shatters. Time seems to slow for a second. Alyssa, you're looking at the machine, and this center rotating gold plate, there's another one underneath it and another one underneath that. And for a split second, they all get to the same rhythm. And the thing slows, and you can see in the center for just a millisecond. And you see a young halfling man in some kind of stasis, floating. And then once again, it speeds back up. But while this is happening, Jacques, it shatters in front of you. This mirror, these shards of ice cascading all over. And one tiny shard of ice hits your forehead. You don't take any damage, but you immediately have a vision. You see two giant mountains, ice-capped, a desolate, icy wasteland of snow. You're moving very quickly over the snow at inhuman speeds. You see trees passing you in seconds. And you're headed straight to something between those two mountains. And slowly it comes into view. Deep black spires that look like they're trying to pierce the sky. A castle made of black ice. And all at once you are standing on an outcropping from the mountain, and you're looking down at this black icy castle. And beside you, you see something very strange. It's a figure made of snow and ice. It's a spell. You're not familiar with it, but you've heard of it before. And you see a woman standing next to you. She has very long features, and though her expression is blank, there's the cruelty of winter about her. She's bare. Just smooth plains of ice. And she's silent for a long moment as you hear the wind whistling, and you hear faintly below you wolves howling. And the woman turns to you, and you see her eyes, which are also ice, blank. And at a very cold voice in her mind and in your mind, the words, "Don't come here," echo. And just like that, the vision is gone. When your eyes clear, there's just a pile of ice that's slowly melting in front of you, and this machine that is whirring to life above you, and all of these golden rings are starting to move together in a similar motion.
Is this the machine that Alzen was telling me about? Oh, I should tell you all that I think this might be the machine that is controlling Oasis. Kind of forgot. There's a machine that was created by the wizard who created Oasis, and I met his son, and I think this could be something to do with that, possibly.
That would make sense. If there's a machine that keeps Oasis running, then I would imagine this would be it. It looks like a very powerful machine.
The temple probably could use some cleaning up at some point, so looks like it's fallen a little bit into disrepair. But speaking of cleaning things up, I just had a very strong vision. I think it was, if memory serves me correctly, a Snow Skirt Mountain is the big ones that is far in the distance. If you guys remember, sometimes when we were in Essen and then Dunmauger, a few places we see them in the distance, 2 big mountains, you know. I saw ice, but it was black, gigantic too. And a woman, just icy cold, warning me to not go. I received a glimpse of it in this one was much more clear. But I think that's where we should try to put an end to all of this, unless you all feel differently.
She said, do not go, and you want to go?
He has
yes.
Just making sure.
Jacques has led us in the right direction so far, and chances are she doesn't want us to go there because she doesn't want us to destroy what they've built.
Yes, there was a melancholy to her. Whatever it is, there is some sort of pain, or somebody has. I mean, I have to be honest when I say I lost my first love in the snow from a creature I could not see. So this is a little bit of a personal quest.
Would you like us to accompany you?
Who knows if it's the same thing I did not see. I just found her body and put her to rest. But if we all go together, maybe there's a way to stop it, whatever this creature is, whatever pain she's in, or pain she wishes to cause. It seems she might be the answer to all this. What do you think?
Well, we have one more of these, and Daisy pulls out the ice orb. It's meant to take us back to Dunmauger, and this is in Dunmauger, is it not?
Yes, it's in the distance. So maybe if we go and we reconvene with Tamsen, that might be the thing we need to do. What do you think, everybody?
I think you're right. And Daisy's going to say to Dunmauger and smash the orb.
All right, Alyssa, since this is completely new to you, what you see is this little egg-shaped ball of ice, and inside the ice you can see liquid sloshing around. And Daisy just throws it to the ground. It shatters. And where the water seeps out of it and hits the ground, it begins to form a door. And it grows larger and larger until it's a full-size door. And this one is black iron. It looks like a lot of the doors that are on the houses in Dunmauger. It has those basic squares that a lot of doors have as decoration on them, and it has a little steel handle.
Is everyone ready? Goodbye, team. I love you.
I know where to find you.
Did you have Artemis make a recording of it, so perhaps you could try to recreate?
It's a good thought.
You
Artemis?
do know once the door is created, you only have a little time before it closes.
Yes, just a quick snippet. Everyone get in while Artemis records.
All right. You open the door, people begin to file in, and Artemis records a little bit of the machine before you go with them. And Alyssa, it's your first time going through this, and it's incredibly disorienting because you are standing here, and there's a door on the floor. You open the door and you look down, and there's a flat plane meeting you. So what happens is you're standing here, and when you step into the door, you kind of go like this, and the horizon meets you. It's like being on a ship.
Ooh.
The horizon disappears, and then it reappears, and it's somewhere else entirely. And then suddenly ground is under your feet when you didn't expect it. You get a little bit nauseous going through it, but you're fine on the other side. And what you see is a snowy expanse in front of you. There's a clear blue sky, not a cloud in sight, a high, bright sun of pale light, and ahead, you all see Dunmauger. And for Alyssa, this is a large town that's built right at the foot of a mountain. Not a large one, but a mountain nonetheless. And the town is surrounded by this high stone wall that goes all the way along it. But the whole place, you're not too far away. You can see inside because it's on a slight incline. The whole place is very beautiful. It's all Tudor-style homes, white with dark beams. There are somehow gardens scattered throughout that are pristinely green, probably by some magic means in the center of this frozen wasteland. But you are back. After destroying all 5 of the ice spires, you are back to Dunmauger.
Oh, yes, I am home. I am home. Oh.
You are still wearing clothing appropriate to Oasis, and now all of a sudden you're in the middle of a tundra.
Yeah, Jack is clothing on in the middle of the street.
Mhm.
He's freezing. Tushy off.
Daisy was going to prepare Artemis, put on her little leather boots and shawl that were made specifically for her for the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Leaf's
And
pulling
then
out.
Jack. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, Leaf's pulling out his absurd, like, big fur cloak and his little his like tall fur hat.
Mhm. Looking like a real nutcracker right now.
And Jacques sees Alyssum cold, and so he takes off his gigantic coat, his fur coat that he would normally wear, and puts it on Alyssum so she's not cold.
I'm gonna go run over to Valara and just like nestle on her butt.
Demmer also looks very cold because he had no clothing to prepare for this.
Oh.
So he's bare-chested to the elements. And he looks around, arms immediately curled up around him, and he says, "Can we go inside somewhere?" You are outside the walls of the town, but it's like a 5-minute walk forward.
I'm running.
Okay.
Yes.
As you run forward towards the center of the entrance to the town, you see chaos.
Oh, no.
You see there's broken bits of furniture in the street that have been set up like pikes as a defense. You see guards that rush out the front gates, heading God knows where, out into the ice. And you see people boarding up their homes. It looks like they're preparing for a fight of some kind.
Oh,
So right away, when Jack sees this, he would cast Sending to Tamsen to say, Tamsen, we're back. We've destroyed the spires. We're outside of Dunmauger. Where are you? Can we meet up with you? Like, just as quickly as possible.
You get a response very quickly. In a commanding voice, she says, "Get to the fortress."
Get to the fortress?
Yes.
Is that what she just said? Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Then I relay the news very quickly as we're running up and we see this. And I say, Tamsen said, get to the fortress. I cast a spell. Let's go.
All right.
Do you know where it is?
Yeah, it's the place you were before. It's at the head of the town, up above everything else. And the fortress for Alyssum is this huge stone structure at the top of this like conical shaped town. It's up a little bit of a slope. And from the top of the fortress lead battlements that go all the way along the whole town. And you begin to head up these streets that were once perfectly curated, like Disneyland, nothing out of place. Beautiful. This is a place that everyone seems to have a good living. There's wealth that is evenly distributed for once. And it is in total chaos right now. You see some children peeking out from behind curtains as their parents begin to board up windows and doors. You see guards that are starting to pick places to set up, and they have like containers of tack that they're putting their arrows in, and they're stretching their bows, getting it ready. They're ready for a fight.
While we're walking towards, can me and Dummer be making investigation checks just to see if there's any furs or capes lying around in the chaos to borrow until we can pay for them?
There's nothing necessarily to borrow, but you do see that there is someone in the market who is closing up their stall very quickly, and they are selling winter clothing. Dummer quickly goes over and pays whatever he needs to grab this gigantic fur that coats his shoulders and all the way down.
I would also
And he
like
can
to grab something warm.
Yeah, you can do so. What are you looking for?
I suppose a warm jacket.
Okay. You find a very nice looking gray jacket with deep blue embroidery of flowers and snowflakes. And the inside has 3 layers of wool and then a layer of fleece.
Ooh. How much is it?
She asks for like 3 gold as she's throwing all of the things away into her cart.
I give her the 3 gold piece I just found.
Okay. She seems very unconcerned and she just keeps pushing stuff away. Are you heading straight up to the fortress? All right. You head straight up the cobblestone path. A giant carriage with guards who have spears ready and they're holding on to the outside goes careening past you towards the front. And you reach the fortress, this squat building of gray circular stones. And guards are going in and out of it, especially on top of the battlements, and they're taking tinder boxes, they're taking torches. Some of them are carrying unlit braziers that they can take down there, and you see some people 2 by 2 carrying cauldrons full of something over. And you go inside. Again, it's chaos in here. Guards running around everywhere. The walls are almost completely barren of the basic supplies that they had. All of the basic guard spears and swords and leathers are gone. There's maybe a harness here and there that's still stuck to the wall. And you head over to the training room, which is really the only place you had ever seen Tamsen before. And Alyssum, you see this woman for the first time. She is impressive in many ways. She is an older orc woman. She has gray hair that's piled up on her head in the most elegant braided bun, and she is stunningly beautiful. She's maybe in her late 60s, wrinkles over her face, but that has never been able to hide her beauty. She is a unique figure. She cuts a very imposing shape. And she is standing in the center of the training room giving a speech and barking orders, and she's wearing a full suit of heavy armor. And you see a tabard peeking out from underneath that has the symbol of Blanca, a gold embroidered pomegranate. She's telling people to go each direction, and it looks like she hasn't even noticed that you're here yet.
Jacques, do you know that woman?
Yes, she's preoccupied. Tamsen, we're here.
She looks up, and as you're looking at her, you can see the wall behind her and around the top of the training arena. And it looks like even some of the magic items are in use. She barks an order. The soldiers in front of her leave in a hurry, and she motions you over with her hands on her hips. And when you're close enough, she says, "I am so glad that you are back. We are in trouble, my friends."
What happened? Or what's happening?
This is Alyssum, by the way. She is accompanying us beside Rufus, just so you know.
Hello. 2 days ago, things began happening in town. People mentioned that their fires would go out in their homes, out of nowhere, and things became colder and colder. And a figure appeared on our doorstep. A woman. And she told us she was done with our meddling, and then she disappeared into the snow. It was some kind of magic, not one I know. I don't even remember the name, but after she gave us this message, at night the undead began trying to overpower town. It's been 2 days. They have killed some. They come from the mountains. Some of them are made of ice. And sometimes there are wolves. Huge wolves that I've never seen before. She is sending too much our way.
Who is she?
Aurel, that bitch.
Aurel. She's the one that we're after.
And she's the one that visited you?
I think so. There is a spell that, with ice, you can create an image of yourself. It's a simulacrum. That's the name. And it can deliver messages. And it sent one to us from her. It's the shape of a woman.
I saw the same one, similar,
Where?
in the vision I had when we were destroying some of the ice bears.
Oh, they are destroyed?
All of them, yes. Except for the ones that I saw, 2 black ones, gigantic,
Okay.
up in the Snowskirt Mountains.
Oh no. Those are not spires. I've seen those. They are towers. They are parts of a castle made of black ice. Huge.
Do you think the spear would be effective on those?
I do not know. I have not been to the castle. I had a looking glass and managed to see it before she made it disappear.
Would you mind if we borrowed your father's spear for a little bit longer?
You think it will help? Yes? Are you going to destroy the entire castle?
We will do what we
Maybe.
must. Yes.
Well, do what you must. I have been doing some research of my own. Now, we do not have much time. We will need to leave immediately. But from what I have discovered, this woman, she has been here for years. We did not know of her. From some of the refugees from North Essen, we have been told she appeared one day, about 5 years ago, after an explosion. And there is a rumor. She is not from this plane. From what I have put together, from what I am only assuming, is that something happened that tossed her. Some explosion that tossed her into another plane, and she is confused and frightened and lashing out. She is incredibly powerful. She is a god. It will not be an easy fight, which is why I'm coming with you. You, and she points to Demmer. Are you a fighter? He looks a little embarrassed and he shakes his head. I'm just a weaver, ma'am. She looks around to the rest of you. She says, where we're going, it would be very dangerous. I do not promise we will make it out. This is your last chance to turn back.
Jacques looks to Valara and Dunmar, and he says, "Do you think it's a good idea to bring him?"
I was thinking the same thing. And I look at Demar. I'm so sorry, my love, but I cannot afford to lose you again. You must stay here.
His cheeks begin to flush a little bit with a dark blush, and he looks down. You can tell he's a little ashamed of his lack of ability, but he nods and he says, I understand. I wouldn't want to impede you.
You are not an impediment, and you are not just a weaver. You have more to offer this world. What would we do without weavers, without any of them? Who would clothe us? Who would arm us? No, you need to be here and make yourself resourceful in the town. I'm sure there's something you can do.
Leaf's gonna walk up to Demmer and pull the sand and crab out of his pocket and say, I know you are a fighter. You just, might not have the experience, but I trust you enough to protect my new friend.
Does he have a name? And he holds out his hands to pick up the crab.
And I hand the crab over. Not yet. But while you're protecting him, if you can think of something good, that would be also helpful.
All right.
If this is as dangerous as you say, then do we still have that wedding ring that we found in the heap of things? And then I look again at Valara, I look at Dunmar, and I say, I don't say this lightly. If you want to be bonded, I can do it, and you will have benefits. And I mean it.
Demmer looks at you, and his face is open and genuine.
But you're going to have to get down on both knees and ask me later at a better time.
Sure, let me just... And he sort of like creaks down onto his knees. It's hard because he's very cold still, even with the blanket. And oh God. And he actually reaches over to a side pouch and he pulls out a small gold band that he's been carrying this whole time. And it's embroidered with little sheafs of wheat and leaves. And there's a tiny, tiny embroidered harp on it. And he holds it out and he says, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly. Valara, will you marry me?
Yes.
Takes your hand and he puts the ring on and he says, all right, give me a second to get up. And he gets up and he stretches his legs and he says, all right, not exactly where I plan to do this, but I'm ready.
Okay. And then I am going to use one of my spells of ceremony to do wedding, which I touch both of them and create this bond, I pull from like the weave of Blanca and the weave of peace. So it's kind of like a dance of magic. But I have to pull from the source of soul. So it's kind of like joining literally two souls together. So you'll see me like put your hand, like my hands on both of your shoulders as I say a prayer. And as you guys speak, your bond together and share your stories. And so I weave it together as it's happening. Now it's DM's call, but I would love to expand the radius of it. So it doesn't have they don't have to be within 30 feet of each other, just so this can last for 7 days while they're bonded.
Absolutely.
So you get a +2 bonus to AC, and you're like connected, and you can you're bonded for 7 days together. So
yep, you and Demmer get a +2 to AC.
Shock, thank you so much.
Demmer looks like he's trying very hard to keep tears back because this is something you can tell he's carried around this ring. This is something he's wanted for a long time. And there's also concern in his eyes.
I kiss him and I say, "Don't worry, I will be back, and we will celebrate very properly."
Daisy isn't holding tears back.
Mhm.
Tears streaming down her face.
Tamsen lets the single tear go by and she wipes it and smiles.
Oh, I
Oh.
love. It makes me so happy, and also Jacques is getting hotter for the moment.
Our
Uh,
giant Jason Momoa Furbolg.
Yeah.
As he does this, he lets go, and he you know, you guys kissed, and he just says, "I hope that this brings you peace, knowing that you are bonded for now, because distance between two lovers is something I would not wish upon anyone."
Thank
No,
you.
we never wish to live that again.
Yes. Only parting for a short while now.
Leaf is gonna cast a druid craft and make it seem like little snowflakes are falling in the fortress.
Oh.
It's a really beautiful moment in the middle of absolute chaos. Just a quiet moment. And eventually Tamsen clears her throat and she says, "I don't mean to break up the party, but we must move. Damer, I have an idea." And she leads him off to the side. And she reaches up on the wall and she pulls down a beautifully crafted bow. And it has a little nameplate underneath it as well. You can't read it from here. It's green and very tall, about half the size of Demer, and it has leaves of wood spiraling off of it. And when he plucks the string, it vibrates with a little bit of light. And she hands it to him and she says, "You will be safe on the battlements if you would like to fight at a distance." And he nods. He says, "I'd rather be involved than not." And he looks
At a
to you.
distance.
At a distance. At a distance. He looks to you. He runs over to give you one last kiss, and then he looks to Tamsen and he says, "All right, point me where I need to go." She gives him directions and he leaves. All right, my darlings, it is time to go. Are you ready?
Is everyone feeling rested enough? I know we have a big battle ahead of us.
If I had some time to heal myself, but I want to save what I can.
I could use, at the very least, a short rest so that I may recover some of my power.
Do we have
Tamsen,
time, Tamsen, for a rest? Or is time of the essence?
We have time. We could have time for one long rest.
So I get a wedding night after all?
Mm-hmm.
I am not so sure. I did give Demer something very powerful, and we will need his help. We are all hands at battle stations. It is just the children and the elderly that are not fighting.
How far of a journey is it to get to where we need to go?
A matter of hours.
Okay.
We can stay the night, but I will need to go out with my people and fight the things that are trying to breach our border.
But
I
if
will,
we take
I will join you all night until I can rest as well. I would be by your side.
Okay.
Wait, so are we leaving or staying? Sorry.
You have the chance to take a long rest, but there is a chance that more people will die. It just depends on how the battle rolls out.
What if we take a nap?
Short rest.
You can have a short rest, but we would be moving at night.
What do you think, Jacques?
It's dangerous on two accounts. I think personally, moving as quickly as possible is the hope. But what good would it be if people die tonight at the hand of others? So
We must go
If-
tonight.
So we must go tonight then.
But if we can wait 1 hour, then that would be best. To just recharge, eat some food, make sure the city is safe, and then maybe we go.
All right.
Okay. If you're sure. Come with me. She leads you out of the fortress and down the left main road to Blanca's temple. This beautiful Grecian-styled temple, and she leads you inside where it is a little warm. And she says, "This is a place you can rest. I will be back in 3 hours. Be ready." And she leaves.
I'm going to find a corner of the room that's kind of away from everything, and I'm going to just settle in and start meditating.
Okay. You go through and you try to find a corner of the room, and as you do, there are these little alcoves here and there where in a lot of temples it's dedicated mainly to one god, but then they have places where you can worship to other gods that are similar. And you see, notably, the Sirt. There's a little shrine for the Sirt in one of these alcoves when you're going to look around for a place to sit. And you also notice next to it is a little alcove with a tiny figure on top of a podium. And it's a long fish of lapis lazuli. And for you and Valara, it's hard to be in here because there are holy symbols everywhere. But this is perhaps the warmest and safest place for you to be. So it burns your eyes to see, but you know this alcove is a tiny shrine to your goddess.
Settle in, close my eyes, and
Okay.
start meditating to recharge.
All right.
I'm going to curl up, and before I try to fall asleep and nap, I'm just looking at my ring and like worried but happy and looking at how pretty it is.
Mm. It gives you a nice warm feeling in your heart. You must have carried this for a long time.
And I fall asleep with my ring close to my throat.
All right. You can all mark off that you have taken a short rest.
I'm gonna use my short rest to get some spell slots back.
Get some what?
Spell slots back.
Yeah, I did use some hit dice.
Okay, so this is the first time I've ever taken a short rest as a bard, and I have options.
Mm-hmm.
Recover to reset maximum HP, or bard hit die 1d8. What does that mean? Is that roll? Do I roll for spell slots back?
You roll to get health back. So your hit die, you there should be an option to take like a basic amount, or you can roll to see how much you get back.
It says I can reset maximum HP changes. I only have 4. I'm only missing 4 points of health.
So you'd only need one hit dice, most likely.
Yeah.
Like click off one hit dice.
Yeah. You have like a pool of hit dice that you can use for a short rest. So you can short rest later on and gain a little bit more. It depends on how many dice you use, if that makes sense.
Oh, I see. So all the little blank squares, it wants me to roll a d8 plus 1. Okay.
Yeah, 1d8 per square.
All right. So that's 5 plus 1 is 6.
All right. So you are back to full.
And I burned 4 die, and I'm back up to full as well.
Dope.
I burned 1 back up to full.
Okay. All right.
But we don't get spell slots back, Valara.
Oh, okay. It didn't. I must have done something wrong because it didn't make my hit points go up at all.
You have to add it because you roll it.
To do it manually.
Oh, I thought when I checked the things it would. Okay. All right. Let's see. So 54.
Actually, I forgot I need to change my.
Okay. Okay.
So enough time passes. You're skirting on the 3-hour mark. There, more appropriate. You're skirting on the 3-hour mark when you hear a noise outside and the doors open and Tamsen steps in. And she says, "Well, My darlings, are you ready?
As ready as we'll ever be.
Okay. Because we are traveling at night, we will have to take a longer route to avoid what she is throwing at the town, so we don't meet them head on. Because as powerful as you and I are, we cannot face that amount. All right.
We will take your lead, Tamsen. We trust you.
Thank you. I hope that I can prove worthy of your trust. All right. Come with me. And she leads you out of town. You see all the people that had been waving at Tamsen before are watching her apprehensively. They're worried. Tamsen is their leader, and in a lot of cases, she's the best of them. And they watch her go as if they're all watching a protector leave. And there's some slight anger from some of the villagers that she's leaving with you and not staying here. Mostly there's understanding. She takes you out through the main door, and immediately you're buffeted by cold wind. It's beginning to snow, and the sun is setting. Tamsen gives one last order to a guard who looks a little shaky on his feet near the front door, and she puts his hand on her shoulder, and she puts her hand on his shoulder. And she says something to him, and there's a change in him. He looks a little more sure. And she begins to lead you out into the snow. Time passes. A couple of hours. Bless you. And the sun disappears beyond the horizon. There's just a faint amount of light left. She's veering far off to the right. And you can see the dark shape, the shadow of these two mountains, one much larger than the other ahead of you. Another hour passes, and it is now dark. You hear the whistle of wind, and you can no longer see the mountains. You just see a blanket of snow ahead of you. Thankfully, Tamsen somehow is also able to see in the dark.
Then Jack is the only one who's like holding on because he doesn't want to let everyone know where he is. So he just goes forward with in blindness.
Okay. When Tamsen notices, she comes over to you. You all stop for a second, and she leans forward, grasping your face, and she whispers something. And your vision, it's like being blinded by a bright light. You blink, and slowly the vision fades in, and you can see in the dark.
Whoa.
She points a finger at you, and she says, "It will not last for very long. Come.
Thank you.
We must hurry." And she sets a pace that is brutal, but needed. You hurry as quickly as you can against the wind and the snow up into the mountains. And this journey becomes almost an odyssey because she takes you to the foot of the mountain after another hour, and she leads you into a cavern. And for another hour, on guard, hoping that you're not going to see any other ice spiders or undead or anything, you are led through this cavern up and up and up, and you have to climb up into a series of holes. It's not easy to get to, but eventually you pop out. Ahead of you, you can see the peak of a smaller mountain. You must be high up on Snowskirt. And below, you see a huge structure. It catches the moonlight in a very strange way, like it's glass. And you realize now the snow has died down, and you can see in the moonlight this black ice castle very near. And you hear sounds. You hear wolves howling in the distance. You hear voices moaning. deep and low in pain, and it echoes, it ricochets off the mountain behind you and in front of you and all around you, but you don't see anyone. Can everyone make a perception check?
That's a
5.
natural 20.
Nice.
Team.
11.
Just a 5.
19.
All right. Everyone who rolled above a 17, you're looking down at this castle made of black ice. And you notice a very faint glow of light coming from somewhere in the center. Pale blue. Daisy, with your 20, you're not 20. You see that there are no other lights on in the castle. There's some kind of something giving off a light here in the center. And the light is actually familiar.
You just lost a camera.
Wait.
She's back.
Here I am. I'm back.
Are we in
Okay.
the wrong order, Erica?
We are.
Yeah, we can just shuffle back real quick.
Daisy, with your nat 20, you see that pale blue light in the center. You see no other lights on in this castle. It looks positively empty, like a haunted house. But that center pale blue light looks very familiar. With your nat 20, that pale blue light looks like the pale blue glow that came off of those ice spires that you destroyed. And with that, we're going to finish this episode.
Ugh.
Oh, goodness.
Finale
Uh-oh.
for the next episode. This was the penultimate episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Wizards of the Coast. We love you. Thank you for sponsoring this. We love to play D&D. We're such fans. Let's go around and do some plugs. Erica.
I'm Kim Doherty. You can find me everywhere on socials at @KimDoherty_. Thank you, Rachel, for being a badass DM. And we're excited for this next episode to see what happens.
Oh, it's gonna be a thing.
I'm Erica Fermina. You can find me everywhere at IstylePixie. That includes Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm excited.
I'm Alice Gretchen. I've never gotten to play a bride before. That was fun.
Through a wedding.
Yes, and you can find me at Alice Gretchen on Instagram and Alice Food on Twitter. Sorry, I'm still dizzy from being a bride and hunger.
Fair.
I'm Allie Gonino. You can find me at go_Nino, Nino, on Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter.
And I'm Kelly Lynn D'Angelo. You can find me at Kelly Lynn Dang.
And I'm Rachel Seeley. You can find me at Sunny Seeley everywhere. Sunny.Seeley on Instagram. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.